Welcome to the Soapbox Sessions. Imagine this, an open and free internet where voices are never silenced, where causes aren't shadow banned, and where no one can be deplatformed. It's real, it's here, and it's happening on Nostr. So what exactly is Nostr? It's a worldwide community of everyday people working to decentralize the internet. On Nostr, you can build websites, communities, social networks, apps, and more. One login works everywhere, you own it, and no one can take it away. No more juggling dozens of platforms, chasing audiences, or managing a giant password list. And the cherry on top? Nostr allows for built-in digital payments that can come from anywhere in the world. On Nostr, value flows as freely as ideas. We're hooked on decentralizing the web, and we think you will be too. So now, let's hear from your hosts, Derek Ross and Heather Larson, who are working to grow Nostr one vibe at a time.
Welcome back to Soapbox Sessions. Today is September 10th, 2025, and we're here with your weekly dose of all things decentralized, social, and AI. Soapbox Sessions is our soapbox about what's new, what's cool, and what's coming. We want to make it easy for you to understand, keep up with everything that's happening in the decentralized social networking world, and with AI as we rebuild the internet together. I'm Derek Ross.
And I'm Heather Larson, and we're excited to guide you through today's episode number 3.
Episode number 3. All right.
Already?
So what are we going to talk about this week? We are going to hit up some Nostr news. We're going to talk about live streaming on one of the Nostr's most popular apps. We're going to hit up some non-Nostr news with Tidal, but we're going to tie it back into the Nostr. Hit up a little bit of AI headlines, talk about the weekly vibe coding jam session recap. Some really cool apps coming out of that. And then we'll wrap up with some Soapbox news. Let's get started, Heather.
Yeah, first let's take a moment to thank everyone who has been supporting our episodes so far with boosts and zaps on Fountain. We'll start with the ones that we got from the first episode. Actually, Derek, can you explain the difference between zaps and boosts, since you were like the Nostr guy?
Zaps, you know, we don't need to get too technical here. Zaps and boosts are the same things, right? It's a way to give back to your content creator, to the person that you're consuming their content. So if you like what you're listening to, hopefully you do, you can let us know by giving us a zap if you use Nostr, or giving us a boost if you're using a Podcast 2.0 compatible app. But they're essentially the same thing. It's just a different terminology for a different type of technology. But at the end of the day, it's a value exchange, and that's what's important.
Yeah, if you've never heard of zap and boost before, they both mean the same thing. It's a tip. So, like, if you're listening, it gives you the ability to tip us within certain apps.
I remember Jack Dorsey. It was either Jack or Gigi. I don't remember, because it was like 2.5 years ago. But in discussing value for value, one of them said that if you only call them tips, then that's all you're ever going to get. So it's a little bit different than a tip, right? It's not a donation, but it's similar. It's not a tip, but it's very similar. It's something different. More along the lines of like the best type of feedback you can give somebody.
Yeah, it's give them some value, some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some may say the hardest money that you can get.
Hard money is a whole other explanation.
That's like a whole episode. You know, maybe we should do that later on. We'll have a whole episode dedicated to this topic.
Maybe Thanksgiving or Christmas or something.
Thanksgiving. All right. So back to the boosts and the zaps and the shout outs.
Yes. And that sounds like something Gigi would have said, but I'm just guessing there because I don't. We'd have to Google it. But yeah, back to the zaps and the boosts and who they've come from so far at the time of this recording. Anyway, we got Jody Bear, shout out for 500 sats, saying LFG. This episode made me smile. May there be many more to come. This would be in reference to the very first episode 1.
I remember seeing that in the feed after she listened to us. She shared it.
Yeah.
She's been to some of our vibe coding sessions.
She has. She's a good part of the Nostr community. She takes part in a lot of the things. And I should add that we're reading these, but you can see them for yourself. They're on apps like Fountain, and I think they're on our Podster, right, Derek?
No, but that's a feature that I should look into figuring out how to add.
I am adding to the to-do list.
I like it.
That's what I do. So more boosts and zaps. Pup gave one 500 sats saying LFG. It's Derek.
It's this guy.
No, we have Pleb One sent 250 sats. I like Pleb One. That's another person who's building a lot of apps on Nostr, and they say congrats to the new show added to the permanent queue. We love that. Luke says for 500 sats, phone number for batteries. Derek, I think they just wanted your number.
I remember that conversation. Maybe they did just want my digits,
they
and
might
that
have.
was. I don't even remember if it was a man or a woman. They just. I
Ooh,
don't.
don't matter.
They just wanted Derek's number, I guess.
I was thinking about you last night because I was in Target and the battery display was on an end
Oh
cap, and I
no.
was like, you know what? They don't want my phone number here. Like they want Darren's phone number. But there's batteries in the middle of the store. Cats sleeping with dogs. Who knows? And then there's Mark, 210 sats in. I had no idea Goose had a non-CLI version. Well, buckle up, baby, because that's what I use.
There's a lot more of these knowledge bombs coming throughout the show.
So
You
many.
should always come away with something, right?
Everything that we're talking about, whether it's Nostr or AI, it's all moving so fast that there's no way to know anything and
You can't keep up with it. I can't keep up with it. I remember in the beginning, back in the before times, it was so easy to stay up to date with things, but now things are moving so fast with
No,
app
you
updates and
can't.
new platforms and protocol enhancements, and it's wild. There's so much news out there. It gives people like us something to talk about.
So much. So we just want to say thank you for supporting. Thank you for
Yes,
listening.
thank
Not
you.
everybody who listens sends in a zap or a boost so they can comment and have their comment read on the show. So just thanks to everybody who listened or made a comment on Nostr.
You
Or
keep
anywhere
boosting and
else.
keep zapping, and we'll keep reading them out loud. Get your message heard.
We'll keep doing it. And by the way, a portion of the ZAP proceeds does go to Human Rights Foundation, HRF. So that's always good to know. And to
Yes.
Ainsley, who recorded our intro, Ainsley Costello.
Absolutely. Value for value. I love it. So let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about some Nostr news, what's going on in the world of the decentralized social future, as I like to call it.
There you go.
Nostr over the past 2 years has had one main streaming platform, Zap.stream, from our friend of the show and friend of Derek, Kieran. His application is amazing. However, it's so amazing, it draws the attention of people that like to DDoS, apparently. So
Oh,
Zap.stream has been suffering some DDoS attacks, and through those, it allows him to, harden his infrastructure, so that's good. But two, it allows other people to step in and fill the void when Zap.stream was getting DDoSed. So Primal, one of the more popular Nostr apps out there, recently added the ability to not only watch live streams, but if you're a premium subscriber for Primal Premium, you can use Primal Studio and you can live stream from there.
well, I did not know that about Primal Studio. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Very
useful.
cool. Very cool. Yeah, absolutely. I think last week we saw maybe one or two people like in the early beta test using it. Yeah, very
I
cool.
like that idea.
And we
That's
need a different we need more people, or I'm sorry, we need more applications that can do this. Because right now there's two that I know of that allow live streaming. There's the Zap.stream app or website, and then there's what is it called? Is it like Show or
the show is like a live TikTok vertical video app. It's still in beta.
yeah, but it's live streaming, right?
Yeah,
So
it is. You can live
we need
stream there.
another competitor in the in the space to
Mm-hmm.
help everybody reach their full potential, because
Yeah,
competition
I
is good.
mean, maybe something like a Twitch. I think people are familiar. People in the gaming community, especially, would be into that. And I think Zapstream is like that though. Uh, I think of Zapstream as like a YouTube. I don't know, like a live YouTube.
Yeah.
Because, that's how I
I
think of
look
it.
at it as like a Twitch competitor. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are good. And if you're listening to this and going, well, I could live stream on Nostr. Yes, you can. And it's kind of like Nostr lets you kind of become your own media company. You can
Absolutely.
podcast, you can live stream, you can post videos. There's no limits to how much text you can post. It's not like 280 characters on Twitter. Now it's called X. You can really get a content flywheel going. I say this because I'm the marketer of Soapbox. So, or we're essentially creating our own media company with our podcast, and we have our own flywheel going.
I think that if you're a Twitch streamer, you know that you have to reach a certain number of viewers,
Mhm.
subscribers, followers. You have to reach some arbitrary number before you can start getting paid.
Well, I think on Instagram too. I
Okay.
think most of them have a threshold, and like if you want to
Yeah.
earn money on
YouTube
YouTube,
Live,
yeah,
they all do.
they have certain because they want to make you work hard for them, so they can
Yes.
be altruistic later to you. Where
So
Noster's not
Heather,
like
if you
that.
how many streamers or how many live viewers, subscribers, followers do I need to start getting paid on Zap.stream or
Like
Primal?
none. There's
Yeah,
no
none.
need somebody to
None.
watch and go. You know what? I'm
You
going
just
to
need
send
somebody
you.
to watch. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you
I'm gonna
need at
send you a
least
little
one
money.
person. I guess it's greater than zero because you have to have at least
There you
one
go.
person watching because that somebody needs to be able to zap you.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, I started teaching yoga on Nostr at the end of September last year, and I thought, "Oh God, is anybody gonna show up? Am I gonna earn any sats from doing this? Am I gonna sit here and wait for somebody to show up?" Because that's what real life yoga classes have been like for me. Sometimes I'm in a major city, and I would get contracted out to go teach at apartment complexes, and I would often show up and have my class prepared and wait for students to show up, and nobody would show up. And I would get paid for my time showing up no matter what. But if you're wondering, like, how many, I think there's a mindset of like, I have to put out how many YouTube videos before I start getting views and subscribers. Like, if you're a yoga teacher, for example, or a gamer, whatever you're putting out there, you have to do a certain amount of work before something comes back. And Nostr wasn't like that. Like, I immediately had people show up to every single yoga class I did for about, 7, 8 months straight before I had a schedule change. I had to hand it off to Anna, who's now taking that class over on Mondays. And so, people zap her now. So like there's multiple people who could teach yoga on Nostr, and you don't have to people just show up. People just want to be involved with things and show up and experience whatever you have to give, whether that's teaching a language or teaching yoga, or there's a guy that does some meditation stuff. Like whatever you do, you can do
I
it
think
on
the point is you have
Nostr.
to find your audience.
Yeah, and you have to build it. And
And
if
it
you show up
doesn't matter how
consistently,
large or small your audience is.
yeah.
If you want to monetize it and get paid, you can. You can't do that on
Hmm.
other streaming platforms.
Yeah.
That's great that Primal now is joining the streaming space and adding these tools for
Well, yeah,
creators.
you can be a small person. You can have literally zero following and show up on Nostr and start building up and have a few people show up, and then maybe like a few more the next week, and then it might come and go. It might fluctuate a little bit, but you don't have the traditional challenges of trying to beat an algorithm or have to censor yourself. So like, God, what if I say a certain word and then oops, then I get shadow banned and nobody's ever going to see me again. Like you can just be yourself and not worry about as much.
So let's talk about BitChat. We talked
Yes.
about BitChat. I believe was it last week or the week before, but
The first episode.
BitChat is in the news again. BitChat
Mhm.
is this peer-to-peer decentralized chat application that has two main functionalities. One, it will function as a Bluetooth mesh, so people in close proximity can form a mesh network and chat. And then two, people in a larger geographic region, whether that be your city, your town, your block, or your state, your province, country, region, whatever, you can chat in this larger landscape as well. So
Mhm.
these two features over the past week or so have been very prominent because there's been many protests in Indonesia, I believe, a few days ago, and then just within the past 24 hours in Nepal. And because of this, BitChat has seen major download spikes. I believe downloads in Nepal spiked up to like 50,000 downloads.
That's
And I
cool.
believe Indonesia saw like 12,000 last week and 11,000 this week. So why are they spiking in these areas?
Mhm.
Because people are getting banned from social media. People
Mhm.
are, I don't know if specifically about the Nepal protests or Indonesian protests, but in the past, when protests happen, a lot of times internet gets shut down. So you need a way to communicate when
Or
internet
social
gets shut
media,
down, when social media gets shut down. Yeah.
yeah, they
So
just pull the plug.
they ban Facebook or they ban the internet in your country, let's say, and you were using that to organize your protest, and you were using that to organize and gather and get information out there. Well, now your mechanism for doing that was taken away. Nostr to the rescue here. BitChat uses Nostr for these geographical region chats, and then locally it uses Bluetooth for mesh chat. So that's great for like on the ground movements.
Lot of use cases for this, and I think that this shows that there's a direct correlation between there's a protest in a country and then a bunch of downloads of BitChat, and then a week later there's another protest in another country and you see a surge of downloads of BitChat. Because if the internet goes down and the social media might be throttled, whatever the situation is, you can actually, since you're offline, like you can't communicate online anymore, and you can communicate via Bluetooth or via this BitChat technology. You call it a Bluetooth mesh, and I don't know what that means. I just know that if I don't have internet,
You just
I
know that
still
it
have
works.
BitChat. Yeah, I just know it works.
Yeah.
Like I may not know how the innards are working together on that one, but
And you don't need to know how the sausages are made,
doesn't
Heather.
matter.
You just need to know you like sausage.
Yeah, well, that's
my
what
favorite.
she said.
That's my favorite analogy talking about technology. I love it. You don't need to know how the sausages are made. You just like to eat them sausages. Like
You just like
they
sausage,
taste
huh,
good.
Derek?
Yeah, you just like sausage.
Oh my
Who
God,
doesn't?
that's
Do you like a patty or you like a link?
yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
don't know.
like them
I
all.
think if no preference or no discrimination against the sausage blends. Okay, we like our sausage.
I like
We like our
brats.
meats.
I like Italian sausage. There's a lot of sausage.
Pork sausage, chicken sausage, bubba gum.
Yeah. This show is now a sausage show.
I think
Man.
there are I think a lot more use cases for BitChat than we are aware of yet, and it's going to be cool to see what
Yes.
people use it for. In this case, I think when the state shuts down your ability to communicate the internet, or say they shut down electricity, right? Who knows what they try to do? But the moral of the story is they're trying to contain protests about something. It doesn't matter exactly what it's about. The era of being able to shut down speech may just be over, and I think that is an exciting development where people are taking their power back through the power of technology. And gosh, we'll see. I think more of this as we go forward.
I think the message here is even if you don't have a need for BitChat right now, download it and install it on your phone, because there may be a point in the future where there is some event that happens and you're not prepared to communicate. So take back part of your communication and be prepared. Use an app that allows you to chat in a decentralized manner or get information out in a decentralized manner, or chat if the internet itself is completely shut off.
You think about it, like in countries like I haven't been to Nepal, I haven't been to Indonesia, but my understanding is outside our little bubble here where we live in the United States, WhatsApp is one of the most popular apps. I have friends who live overseas who are
WhatsApp
like,
is popular in the U.S.?
No, overseas. Like
So I was gonna say, I was like, wait a second. I know I'm getting old, but like
no, I mean, like I know some
overseas, WhatsApp
like
blows up. Like everybody uses WhatsApp.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
But
popular
we don't use it here. I don't
here.
know. I don't know anybody that's ever used WhatsApp in the United States.
Oh, I do. I mean, it depends on what community you're in, and if you have a South Asian community, it's obviously popular overseas, so it becomes popular in certain communities here. So you will see that in isolated spots here, but again, WhatsApp is controlled by Meta, so like you have to go, okay, what company owns this, and would they have an incentive if the United States government said, oh wow, there's widespread protests about whatever in the U.S. this weekend. Why don't we go to Meta and have them shut down WhatsApp so people can't organize protests? Like that is very within the realm of possibilities, because these companies, they get maybe some government money. They they might have a little incentive to not say no to the state. So BitChat is,
and it's good to be prepared.
Yeah, it seems like it's gonna work. It doesn't seem like it's got any special interest behind it. Like there's not a company that's like
and
trying
that's
to
it's
get
the
you.
whole reason that we like to say that with Nostr, like people don't need to know they're using Nostr; they just need to know that it works. So everyone that's
Ooh,
so everyone in Nepal or Indonesia that's using BitChat to communicate regionally, to communicate with each other when the internet's taken down or social media is taken down. Well, they're doing so, and they don't know that they're using Nostr. They just know that they're
Yeah.
communicating, and that's I think a very powerful and strong point. Like on the show, you and I, we like to talk about Nostr, and we like to say the word Nostr, and we like to talk about Nostr apps. But at the end of the day, we want people to use Nostr without them even knowing that they're using Nostr. They're just communicating.
You don't have to know about it, but you know what else I think about BitChat is that I don't have to sign up as Heather Larson. I don't have to give my email. I don't have to give my
You have
info.
to
I
give
have to
anything.
yeah, and then the messages are ephemeral. So, ephemeral? What is the word?
Ephemeral
Ephemeral.
means they don't live elsewhere. They
Yeah,
go away.
they expire.
Temporary.
So I think that's a good thing. Like if you want anonymity during a protest, you don't want to be tracked. You're offline. You're off cell towers. You can be on BitChat. I think that is an
You know what?
intense
A neat
thing to know
feature
about.
about BitChat
Hmm.
is, at least on the Android version, because I've never used it on iOS, but on the
Oh.
Android version of BitChat, let's say you're at a protest and you I don't know, police don't like you being there, and they come up to you and they grab a hold of you, or as they're approaching you, you feel like that they're going to try to detain you. You can actually triple tap, 3 taps on the BitChat
Mm-hmm.
logo, and it'll wipe all conversations and essentially reset the
Mm-hmm.
app back to like factory settings.
I think iOS has that
So
too. Yeah.
let's say you're chatting and all of a sudden bad stuff goes down. You're like, oh man, gotta delete my history. Boom, 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 and it's gone. It's
That's great.
really really neat feature for those that are in these type of situations. Besides BitChat and what's going on the other side of the world here in Nashville next week is the Imagine If conference that I'm going to be speaking at alongside Sean Yeager and Matt Odell. The 3 of us are going to be talking about decentralized communication and identity, and essentially talking about why we feel this is important, and sprinkle some purple Nostr goodness in there from time to time. And
That's gonna be
and
cool.
then coming up next month is
Mm-hmm.
Nostr Valley 2.0.
Ooh.
Very excited about that.
I'm gonna be there.
You're going to be there. That's great. That's exciting. Nostr Valley is in central Pennsylvania. It's a Nostr conference. It's not very long. It's only 4 hours long, but we pack it with content. We're all going to go out to dinner in the evening and have some nightlife fun, and then the next morning we'll all meet up and go out for brunch. And last year, a bunch of people went to a gun range afterwards. It's very decentralized, but we do have a small schedule with speakers and panels and talks throughout the afternoon on October 18th. And like I said, in the evening, we're working on some entertainment. Hopefully we can get that figured out. And then the next day, we're all going to meet up for a goodbye brunch, and then send people on their merry way. So if you can make it to Nostr Valley, since there hasn't been a major Nostr conference in over a year, there's been a bunch of smaller ones all over the world. Small ones are our bread and butter. Our communities get built in these small pockets around the world. We have to build local to
Mm-hmm.
grow Nostr, I believe, and then we can all link up. So if you can make it, make it. Heather's going to be there. So.
Yeah, come out, hang out with us. What we have to do while we're there? We have to hide some treasures. We have to.
Yeah, we will.
We have
Yeah,
to
we definitely need to
geocache.
hide some treasures. We
Yeah.
can walk around the Penn State University campus and hide some treasures, and then we can get some like local, like maybe student geocachers to get in on it. That'd be fun.
That would be cool, because and if you want to know more about our geocaching, I can't talk today. Geocaching, it's treasures.to.
Geocache by Chad. Chad is a talented developer, friend of the show.
Yes, and the lore here, though, because geocaching involves maps, and Chad's mapping software actually was he made a little BitChat app with that, just to tie it all together.
Yeah, we talked about that, I believe.
geocaching.
BitLat.
Yeah,
I think we talked about that. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's it for the Nostr news. Nostr keeps pushing forward. There's a lot of interesting movements happening with this, but let's shift a little bit and talk a little bit about something that isn't Nostr related, but is related to the ethos of Nostr.
Yes, let's talk about this new feature at Tidal, which is a long time coming. It's about time somebody did this. This is a step in the right direction. So I don't know if you know anything about me, and Derek too. Derek has participated in the value verse, so to speak, or like the way we do this podcast.
I
It's
think
podcasting
I think we're
2.0,
in the
right?
value verse right now, Heather.
We are. You can
We
you
are.
can watch the podcast because this is for everybody and not just Nostr people or Bitcoin. This is for everybody so that everybody can learn about Nostr. This podcast is everywhere. And I have another one that's only in podcasting 2.0, which means that I don't want it on Apple or Spotify because you can't send value that way, and because that's a music podcast that I do. And the point of that is that independent artists can earn money for their music, which is very hard to do on the traditional type of platforms
Yes.
until now. We'll say
What
Tidal
do
is
they
the
get paid on Spotify? Like 0.003 cents per play?
yeah, it's a fraction of a
It,
cent.
it,
So
it's some number that doesn't make sense to humans. Like,
again,
like literally, like
TLDR.
it's
Unless you're Taylor Swift, you're not really earning very much from the royalty aspect of it, and that's part of what it is. It's royalties. So the money goes through ASCAP, CSAC, or BMI, and then you get however you're signed up for your royalties, you get a little check every so often, and it could be, if you're lucky, like $1.30, as Sarah Jade has told me, like the most she ever earned from Spotify was $1.30 in a royalty check. Like, they actually write you a check for that, like for $1.30. Like, they actually mail
and they're
you.
going to spend 50 cents to send it to you. Like,
Right. So it's like they're
that's
losing,
crazy. That's crazy.
they're losing money. So
it's like almost not worth like the paper and the stamp to do
right.
that.
It makes absolutely no sense. But
If
the point is
only
that the
there was a
artists,
better way for this, Heather.
well, there is. So, like, for the last 2 years, artists like the one that we feature in our intro, Ainsley Costello, a lot of people, including Derek and myself, we've been working to try and bring attention to this idea that artists could earn value for value is kind of the key phrase. I don't know if it's the best phrase, but artists, in other words, can put their music online and earn value in return for it, because people kind of get into it and they go, oh, this is a great song. I can zap that, right? I can zap or boost, and the artist gets the money, and I get to make a comment with my boost or my zap. So then I get to talk to the artist. So then, like, I'm a cool fan. I've supported the artist. The money goes directly to them, goes directly to a wallet. But this is still, I think, a lot to explain. So what Tidal has come in and done is they've taken the principle out of it without, like, well, it's the same principle, but they've taken all of the tech jargon out of it. So basically, Tidal has
Which
this
is good.
upload fee. Yeah, this is what we need. We need a step in the right direction. We need somebody to go, okay, so I'm an independent artist. Okay, I own the rights to my music. I don't have a record label. I'm a professionally aspiring musician, and I want to just upload my music, put it on Tidal, and see what happens. See if somebody sends me some money. So, like, you can pay $1 if you like a song, or 50 cents. I don't know. Like, you just pay through Cashapp on Tidal.
The fact that you can do it, that's what's
The
cool.
fact that you can do it, and that's an incentive.
The monetary
for
amount
independent-
doesn't overly matter. It's the fact that you're able
it's
to
the fact
have
that
this
you can
value
do-
exchange.
So this thing that we've been trying to do for 2 years, and we felt like, God, we have to explain Bitcoin and zaps and boosts, and we have to explain Nostr, and we have to explain the technology, and that's just for the fans. For artists, there's a whole other layer of having to teach people, like, okay, so you need to set up the upload this way, and then you have to set up the wallet this way, and then you cut in all the members of the band, so, and then you divide it up and da-da-da-da, so everybody gets paid, and it's been really complicated to explain. So I think this is why the Tidal thing is great, because it explains the concept in a way that people are already used to. People have the Tidal app, they have the
Okay.
Cashapp app.
I
So
see it.
when they find a song they like, they can just send it some value. So you just
If
say,
you're already
hey,
in this
you know what?
ecosystem, you don't need any new apps.
Like, let's say Derek Ross has a band. Okay, Derek's got a band.
What's the name of my band, Heather?
We'll call it Price
Fod.
Shock.
Price Shock?
Price Shock.
Okay,
Because
all right.
that was my fake band that I made up and made vibe coded
Yeah.
a
Well, I don't
fake
want a
website.
fake band name. I want a real band name, Heather. I like
Okay, well,
Fod.
Seinfeld for Nerds would
Like-
be your band name.
That was
So-
last week's band name.
That was last week. Okay, so whatever Derek's band name is, because he's got to have the most creative band name there is.
I
let's
do.
say Derek and his band, they have uploaded some original music to Tidal and you decide, you know what, I am tired of listening to my steady diet of Taylor Swift and Chapel Roan, and I am going to listen to some independent music
Give me some
today.
Derek tunes.
Yeah, give me Derek's band. I want to hear what this crazy band has put out. And you listen to it and you go, you know, this is smoking hot. I'm gonna, I'm gonna, I'm gonna send them some value because this is the best song I have ever heard, and I did not know that independent music could be this good. Take my Cash App money, like here you go. I
Give
want
me
to
your Cash App money for my
give your Cash App
exclusive
money.
band.
Your exclusive, just magnificent band. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of we've been trying to teach people this, that like you can actually independently be an artist and thrive and make money. But the thing is, we have to build a model out here. And if you've heard of the 1,000 True Fans model, that's what we're going for, to where you don't have to go viral, you don't have to get a record label, you don't have to play arenas. But if you could get 1,000 people to be your true fans, and maybe somehow you create enough value so that each of those 1,000 people sends you about $100 a year, maybe for an album, maybe for some tickets, maybe for some merch, maybe because they listen to your songs so much they want to send them some Cash App money. That would actually give
Cash
you
App money.
Cash App money. It would give you $100,000 a year as your salary as a musician, and that would be pretty good. Of course, you want to pump that up if you got a band with 4 members in it.
You know
But
what
that's
makes
kind
this
of what we're
easy,
going for.
Heather, is the fact that it's the Cash App money. It's
It's the Cash App
easy.
money. Yeah, it's
It is. It's the user experience. It's really, really easy. You know, you and I being Bitcoiners, we like zapping some sats, but at the end of the day, it boils down to user experience. And the vast majority of Nostr apps and Bitcoin Lightning apps still need to work on the user experience and make it to where it is as seamless and fun and easy as that Cash App money.
Well, it's a tough conversation. I did this once here in town, like live and in person with somebody, where I showed them how I could listen to a song on Wavelake, on the Wavelake app, for iPhone. I said, look, I'm playing this. I was at a live event, a yoga thing, and I was playing yoga music from Wavelake to a speaker. And I said, look, this is an independent artist. They have music on Wavelake. Watch me send them a tip. And like whip out the Cash App, send them some value. And the guy was like, this is really cool. And I know that I only have mere moments to capture their attention because this is kind of technical. Because then
Yeah.
keyword, or you start saying zaps and boosts, or they don't know what Wavelake is either. That's a music app for independent artists. And so that it turns into like, you get that children's book, you give a mouse a cookie. If you start, you give somebody one thing, they want another thing, so you start explaining one thing, you're going to get stuck on it. This is
we get into that technical jargon loop every single time we have to explain Nostr. It's like, hey, listen, Nostr's so cool. Well, yeah, show me. Okay, well, first you need this app, and then you need this app, and now you need this app, and now you need this app. Like, there's literally 4 apps. And freedom isn't easy. I get it. But I think we can simplify this a lot and make the user experience, the onboarding experience easy.
The explanation.
Like right now, okay, so Tidal has Tidal for music, and then it has Cash App for that Cash App money. That's 2. All right, so and on the Nostr side of things, you can just do this with one app, right? You can just do this with Fountain. That's your music app, and it has a built-in wallet. So so is it easier then with Bitcoin?
That depends.
If you're using Fountain?
If you're already a Bitcoin person and you have Bitcoin on your Cash App, and yes, then you already understand.
I'm not using Cash App. I'm a Fountain guy. I'm using Fountain because
you're on Fountain.
I was told to download Fountain at this music festival, right? So I got my Fountain. Now,
and then
how do I do my value
exchange?
exchange?
Well, then you explain, well, Fountain has a wallet built in. Well, what's a wallet? Well, it's a Bitcoin wallet. Okay, so how do I put Bitcoin in the wallet?
How do they get the Bitcoin? Where do I get my Bitcoin to fill my Bitcoin wallet? Because it needs to be as easy as Cash App money.
Yeah. If you're good at purple pilling, then you send the person
you link your
just do it.
You know what? That's actually what we do, Heather, is that to help onboard people, because we know that it's tough. A lot of these music events, we actually go around with cards and hand them out to people, and they scratch them off, or they scan them or type in numbers, however they want to do it, and boom, they get maybe $5 in Bitcoin. So it kind of helps them get over that hurdle of, oh my God, how do I get the Bitcoin? How do I get it in my wallet? So we make it easier to get started by giving people a little bit of Bitcoin at these live
Yeah.
events. And that helps. But for the masses, we can't, give away tons of free money to people.
So you that's
it
why
does
there's a
need
learning
to,
curve.
we,
That's
I
why
think
the Tidal Cashapp integration is so good, because it takes the Bitcoin out of it, and I think
it's
that's
that
good.
Cashapp money.
Yeah, it's just Cashapp money. It's US dollars. So you send $1 to the artist, with
So what
Cashapp
if
through Tidal.
Fountain had the similar to Primal? Because Primal allows you to buy Bitcoin through, like, you can buy Bitcoin in the Primal app through the Primal wallet. You can go in there and buy Bitcoin through using Apple Pay or Google Pay. Like, you can buy it
Oh,
right
really?
through the app.
I've never done that.
Through in-app
I just send
purchases.
money between
Yeah.
wallets.
Yeah, you can literally, you can use an in-app purchase and buy Bitcoin.
I have
That kind
never
of
done this.
takes this all. Well, then this is like a user experience thing. Like,
Yeah,
you didn't know
this
that you
is-
could do it. So
Yeah,
you
like, how long
can
have I
do
been
it,
using it?
but maybe Fountain needs this capability to buy sats right in the app, like through in-app purchases.
And or be able to pay people in US dollars, because people are familiar with it. Like, do you know
Yeah.
TrueFans.fm?
Yeah.
TrueFans lets you pay with a credit card, and
you can specify right there. Yeah.
Yeah, you can use, so like they do something I think is very smart. For a long time they have not used the B word, because it's just you're sending people value,
Well, you don't
and
need to.
yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
the idea is you exchange. So like if Derek and I do this, like if Derek posts something on Nostr that I think is especially awesome, I will send him a little zap, or sometimes
Thanks for the zaps.
when you don't do something awesome and I just want to make sure you see my smartass comment, I will send a zap with my smartass comment, just to be cheeky, because then I know other people will see it too, because people look at the zaps.
Yeah.
People look. It
People do
amuses
look at
me
the zaps.
when people leave cheeky little comments that they paid 21 sats for. Like, that's fun to me. That's one of those little fun things, for sure.
So beyond platforms experimenting with new ways to do value exchanges for creators, that seems like it's moving in the right direction. It's moving a little fast. And
Yes,
speaking of
finally.
moving fast, AI is always moving fast. Do we have any AI news we can hit real quick?
Oh my God, yes. Here's a quick story, because it's a big story. Like, you don't need to say too much about OpenAI and Oracle. They have got a new cloud computing deal, and Derek and I
The
were
two of them are
laughing about
working together. Like they're teaming up to take over the world. Is that what I'm hearing?
Kind of. I mean, we're talking about a $300 billion compute power deal that's going to be paid out over 5 years. So
okay, it's 5-year deal, $300 billion. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bees. Okay.
So like, there's another player in the game here. Well, maybe not anymore. But
so this is kind of telling me that the bigger players are getting bigger. They're teaming up. So decentralized. So decentralized AI is even more so needed than ever before.
Yeah, because OpenAI's got obviously huge brand recognition, but a huge corner of the market. Oracle's been around forever. I'm a Bay Area kid. I know that. Another thing that's significant about this news story is this is a move away from Microsoft, timed with OpenAI's involvement with the Stargate project. This is according to TechCrunch. So OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle here's more money coming at you, Derek. Are you ready for this number? These three have committed to invest $500 billion with a B into domestic data center projects over the next 4 years. So data centers are kind of a big deal, kind of a $500 billion.
Yeah,
deal.
data centers, if it's an AI data center, it's good, but if it's a Bitcoin data center, it's bad. But that's another topic. Like,
I've heard both are bad. It depends on who you talk to.
Oh, okay. So have we shifted? Any data centers bad now?
For some, according to my niece, my little Gen Z niece, my quote unquote little Gen Z niece, but yeah, she thinks that AI is bad, and that people using it for their grocery lists and costing electricity.
So AI is just another tool. AI is just another tool. Could
is.
it be bad? Sure, but anything can be bad. It depends on how it's used.
Yeah. Well, when we're
Uh,
talking about data centers, I think we're talking about things that are in communities like my city of Phoenix. Electricity is important here. Like, you're not going to move here and do Bitcoin mining, right? It just doesn't make sense because it's so hot here. You would have
because of
to
the
air
heat,
cool
yeah.
everything. Yeah, but we do have AI data centers here, and we also have a very, if we're talking about billion-dollar companies here, we have TSMC. And so, like, when we're talking about data centers or somebody making semiconductors, things like electricity and water are very important. And those are
Absolutely.
very finite resources in the desert. So I think it depends on, how informed you are, where you live in the country, what your power bill is already, how much this affects it, what your local, legislation is doing, what your state is doing, and if it takes up water, which is a finite resource here, or if, how much power does it take up, and, like, because I don't know how it works with the data centers. I know in mining there's curtailment. So if there's some issue, like with a storm and the power goes out, we could turn off the rigs. Okay. They could, like, there's an incentive to do the right thing, which is like a whole other show. But I don't know how that works with the data centers for AI. I don't
Well,
know if it's the same principle and
I
there's
mean, it's
curtailment.
essentially the same thing, right? Like, at the end of the
I
day,
think so, but
data
I don't know.
centers data centers consume energy, and they
Hmm.
don't like to get hot. They like to stay cool
Right.
because technology doesn't like to melt.
This is true. And I mean, if you really want to harp on it, like, I worked in radio and TV forever, where you always have a big rack and you got to cool that thing. You can't let that thing overheat. You got to keep your racks cool. Derek and I are 12.
Oh shit.
Cool your rack, Derek.
Yeah. So, you completely derailed my train of thought there. Apparently, yes, I'm a 12-year-old boy at
That's
heart.
what
Like,
Derek and I are like siblings. We're like 12
oh
and we
man.
make dumb
I,
jokes and make each
I
other
was gonna
laugh like
say something
12.
profound too, but I started laughing at that. I was gonna say, what was I
You
gonna?
were not going to say anything
No,
profound.
it was. It was. It was something like. All right, let me think here. So, at the end of the day, I think that more data centers is better.
It's
Personally,
inevitable.
I think
It's going
more
to happen.
energy consumption is better. Why? Because this leads to more innovation. If we're not building these things, if we're not consuming energy, we're not
Yeah.
building new data centers. We're not like there's no need for innovation then. So if we need to continue to build new data centers to flesh out this infrastructure, to enhance our infrastructure, and then we need
Mhm.
this for energy, for energy innovation, to make energy more affordable, to have energy more readily available, different types of energy research. I don't know. I think that anybody that
Well,
you
you're
know
right. I mean, we need innovation
isn't
in
for
America again.
isn't for that, why? You got to ask yourself why. Why aren't they for it? Is there a downside to these things? Sure, there could be, but I think long term it's the way to go. We don't want to stifle innovation by not doing anything. We need to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, I think people forget too that the AI has been around for decades. We've had data centers for a long time, and that a lot of what we're talking about now is the consumer facing AI. There's also the AI that is behind the
AI
scenes.
that's readily available to people that they never had
Yeah,
access to it before, so it was kind of
it's
out of
becoming
sight, out
popular.
of mind.
Yeah, for
Data centers have been around for 2 decades,
hmm
or more.
yeah, we just didn't know about them because now
We
we
just
care.
didn't care. It's like, oh, cool, Google's building new data centers, sweet. That's what, like, 20 years ago. That's what you would see in the media. It's like, oh, cool, Google's growing and they're building more data centers. And now it's like, oh man, Google's building more data centers. Ooh. But like, why?
Yeah,
Why did that
no,
change?
AI is not new. It's
Well,
not going away. I
that
mean,
that might not have been the best example because like Google's gotten too big, but
Google's
bad
very big.
example. But my point, I think, was understood.
Yeah, no hate
You know,
towards Google's Gemini or anything. I
my
use
my
it.
my head's all foggy since that 12-year-old
The
boy moment a few
the comment
seconds
about the
ago.
rack got you, didn't it? Just
It
we're gonna have to.
did, it did. It threw me for a loop, and now I'm like my whole I was in the zone. I was gonna say all these profound things. We were gonna get all sorts of like boosts and zaps. We are gonna get so many that like next week, it was just gonna be like 30 minutes of reading these out.
It was gonna be so prolific. It just was gonna knock me out of my chair,
All right.
wasn't it?
All right, so let's get off the rack and go down to talking about vibe coding. Last week we had another vibe coding jam session where there's some really cool apps that were demonstrated. Friend of the show, friend of Derek, Daniel, he demonstrated 2 really cool apps that he has been building with Claude Code.
He's got a consistent performance. Let me just tell you, this guy.
Well,
I don't even.
He's a designer, right? He's a former marketing guy, designing guy, so he understands aesthetics and he has this eye for things. And I think that's a huge benefit for building with AI. If you can communicate how you want something to be built that you see in your head, your application will be amazing because you can convey that to the robot to build it for you. That's the largest hurdle, is figuring out how to go from inside my head to the keyboard.
Yeah, it's how do I prompt the robot to
Daniel can do it.
Yeah, he can do it.
He's like, hey robot, build me this thing.
Yeah, like he's got to be a perfectionist because he can make things look the way he wants them to look, and that to take away from the hard work it takes to do that. Because like I could eventually get something to look the way I want it to look, but I and I can make graphics and video and all that stuff, but I don't think that I have the gift that Daniel has. I would say.
So,
like
let's talk about these. Let's talk about these beautiful apps that he built. The first one is called Sidecar. Sidecar is really cool. It's essentially a Nostr social feed app that lives in your browser. Modern web browsers have this reading pane, like Brave, Chromium browsers have this reading pane. So it fits in the reading pane, essentially, in the pane in your browser.
Right-hand side, like a column.
Yeah, it's a dedicated column for a Nostr app. So if you're somebody that has one monitor, maybe or you use a laptop, or you live in the browser, like your browser is always open, use the browser for everything. You don't want to be alt-tabbing, and you don't want to have Windows. Like, it's for these types of people, so you can always have Nostr going while you're browsing the web. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So and it's perfectly named Sidecar, like sidecar as in the sidecar, like motorcycle. That's what I think of. But the logo is the sidecar drink. So I really liked that.
That's cool. It's kind of like a sidebar.
Did you catch that?
No, I didn't. I don't even know the drinks anymore. I've been sober so long. I don't know.
The only reason I know what a sidecar is because we had a New Year's Eve party for 2020. And we made sidecars because that was like a Roaring 20s drink. So we were making them. That's like the only time. That's why I know. That's why I know about that drink. That's the only time I've ever had one.
See, this is very creative, though. This is the way people come up with apps and what they name them and the look of them.
So his other app, though, I think is.
Oh, which one?
I think his other app's going to be more popular, though.
Are you talking about Plebs versus Zombies?
The Plebs versus Zombies app.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Plebs versus Zombies. It's a play on the Plants versus Zombies game.
And it harkens back to when we had these kind of third-party apps with Twitter, and you could purge your followers who hadn't logged on in a long time. You're like dead followers. It's the same kind of idea. I don't remember what
I used an app
called.
like that years ago.
Yeah. Like
I have no clue what they were called, but I remember using them.
Yeah, but Plebs versus Zombies is the one of the first, I would say. I think there are some others out there I just didn't know about until we started talking about this one.
There's been about half a dozen of them, but they're all abandoned or don't work very well. As Nostr started to grow and we had these different waves of people would come and go, and you would need to purge your contact list to go through and remove people that had left the platform. So why is that important? Because maybe you think, well, who cares? Why do I need to do this? Well, there's a little bit of a technical geeky reason for it, and I won't go in too much into the weeds with it, but I'll just say that once you hit somewhere around 1,000 followers, the size of that amount of data gets so large that a lot of relays used to cut that and truncate it. So if you had maybe 1,000 followers and you went to follow a new person, it would have to, the very first person you followed, for example, it would have to remove
them.
that to add the new person. That's not exactly what happens because it's random. They weren't always in the same order, but the data gets too big to store in a certain size on relays, and relays would just start essentially truncating this list when it would return. So your Nostr client would say, "Hey, what's all this? Well, who all is Derek following? Give me a list of all the people Derek's following." And it comes back with the first 1,000 people that I'm following, even though maybe I'm following, let's say, 2,000 people. And
Right.
then I
Like
would
you
follow a new
lose.
person. And then when
Yeah.
I send that new list, I don't send 2001 new follows to somebody. I would send 999 plus that one new one, and I wouldn't know which 999 it
Yeah.
is. So
But
you
the
get these
thing
like
is,
truncated lists that are not complete.
and you
So
will
this is
notice
why
because you're
Daniel
gonna.
built this.
Yeah, you will notice that your feed seems different and like slower, and like there's not as much going on. It's because you're not following as many people. Suddenly,
Well,
like
this used to
poof.
happen all the time, like back in the
Yeah.
day. I think that, so I found this, I didn't know this. I found this out about a year and a half ago. I was in an Uber
I
in
never knew this.
Madeira with Will, friend of the show, friend of Derek from Damas.
Everyone's a friend of Derek. It's the
And
truth.
Will and I were on our way to, I don't know, we were gonna go get, probably cocktails, beers, whatever, steak. I don't know what we were doing, but we were in a
Sidecars.
vehicle together, and we're talking about nerdy Nostr stuff. And for some reason, contact lists came up, and Will's like, "Oh yeah, well the reason that this doesn't work is because wait a second, how many people are you following?" And I'm like, "Oh, 1,200." He's like, "Oh yeah, you're following over 1,000 people, so most relays are breaking your contact list." I'm like, "What?"
Well, damn
He's
it.
like, "Yeah, we should probably." He's like, "Well, yeah, we should probably fix that."
Yeah.
And I I don't know if every single relay now has that fixed or every single client now has that fixed, but it was an issue. I know people worked on it, and I know then specifically Primal. This was an issue at Primal, and Daniel and I both actually
Mhm.
had this problem at Primal because he follows a lot of people like I do, and
Yeah.
him and I were complaining that our follower. Whenever we would follow somebody, our followers weren't being updated. The contact list wasn't updated because we were hitting some arbitrary number in their database that was too large. So they fixed it. We worked with them. They fixed the issue, and now Primal's great. I forget what they increased it to, but they increased it to some number for me like a year ago.
Hmm.
So this is fixed in a lot of places, but in a lot of places it isn't. So it's good to use a tool like this from time to time to clean out the dead accounts or the zombie accounts,
Yeah. Well, I have
as this calls
two
it.
observations. Like I think there was a point in time, and maybe this is still true. I'm not sure. There was a point in time when the thinking about having a Twitter account is that you would have better engagement because you had to game everything right with the algorithm. You would have better engagement if you had more people following you than you were following. So this isn't a case like that because Nostr doesn't have that engagement. So this is a purely technical thing. But the other thing I was thinking is from a marketing standpoint. A lot of things that we would teach clients in social media marketing is like, hey, there's a new social thing out there, or you have a new brand or side brand or whatever. You just want to like get the account. You just want to get the username and park it. So sometimes I wonder, because I started playing with plebs versus zombies the other day, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I could call the people I'm following too much. And like I got rid of like 8 zombie accounts that were like deleted accounts, right? Because sometimes people
I
get
deleted
locked.
like 100 of them today.
Yeah, like you can get locked out and lose your NSEC, and then you never get into your account again. So that's probably what happened with those deleted accounts. And so I thought, well, okay, those I can get rid of, but other ones may be somebody who just like opened a Nostr account, like, okay, I started it. I'll come back later if it takes off. So I wonder if
If
some
people
people
hadn't posted in 6
panic.
months, I cleared them out. Like
Well, you just
if
cut
they
them.
Oh yeah, if you didn't post, there's only a few. There's
Hmm.
a handful that I decided, okay, like maybe this is a specific person or a brand that I wanted to keep around,
You'll
or it
grant
was
them immunity.
an old friend. Well, some of them were actually old friends from Bitcoin Twitter that I was really good friends with, and I
Uh,
didn't want to delete them in case they decided to come back. Like that was my only way to stay in contact with them. So there's been a handful of
ah.
those people that they used to be friends, so I
Mhm.
didn't want to purge them, but I purged over 90 people, almost 100
Wow.
people today. Yeah.
I'm like, I got rid of 8.
The tool works great. It didn't nuke my contact list. I would say everybody that uses Nostr, go ahead. It's safe to use. It gets the Derek stamp
Mhm.
of approval.
Well, we've been around it a long time, so we're following a lot of people. We've got a lot of followers. It can be laborious to start over again. That's all. Like I learned in
Absolutely.
the beginning to back my profile up because I had started. There was a couple times that I was like, "What is going on? Like my feed is really boring. I'm not following anybody. I know I was following a ton of people. What happened?" And then I had to learn the hard way. But
Yep.
that was a while. Like, I
That's
don't
like a
think that
rite of
that's
passage
happening.
that have some app nuke all of your contacts.
Yeah, because
Many of
Nostr.
them now will have ways to recover, but many of them
Yeah.
still don't.
You have to work harder with Nostr because you want to create like the good feed where you're following the kind of people you want to follow, and you mute the people you don't want to hear from. But it was important to me to have the people I followed. I'm following you for a reason. I want to see your material in my feed. I don't want to lose following you. That's important to keep. I think that's important.
Absolutely. So there's another vibe coded app I want to mention here real quick before we move on.
Hmm.
Code Orange Dev School. They are
Yes.
a Orange Bitcoin Southeast Asia
Hmm.
organization that wants to have monthly vibe coding jam sessions
Love it.
building on Shakespeare. So essentially like our weekly ones that we're doing, but they want to focus, on their local region, local community, and
Hmm.
teach people how to vibe code and build applications with Shakespeare. So they
Hmm.
they did a proof of concept. They built an application that essentially just links to workshops and tools and events and things like that to
Yeah, it's
kind of
their
get
website.
started.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah.
cool because that is at minimum the thing that you could do with Shakespeare. You can make a personal or business website. You can take it a little further. You can make an app. But they made it super easy. I think
You
he
build a
told me it took.
tool.
Yeah, it took him a few minutes. They were like, well, we like put our grant info in. We put all our info in. I told it what we wanted, and it gave us a website. And that's the
Yeah, and
goal. Is it
that's
makes
all
your
he
life
needed.
easier.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
that's all he
essentially they're
needed.
like a nonprofit, they're a Code Orange Deb school, and so they're working in their community to teach people skills and teach people information that can really help them. They're in Indonesia, and they need all the help they can get, and sometimes that's I need to do something cheaply and not spend a lot of time on it because I want to do the. If you know anybody in a nonprofit, like they don't want to spend time doing all of the tech stuff. They want to do what they love. They didn't get into being a nonprofit so they could run a business and build a website and do admin work. They actually want to help people. So that gives them more time to do
Yeah.
that. And I love
So
that.
they're doing what are they doing? They're doing bit devs workshops
Cool.
for node running, eCache, Nostr Fediment,
Awesome.
mining, multisig. They're doing vibe coding on Nostr, which I just mentioned.
Hmm.
They're doing study cohorts for learning all about Bitcoin, how Bitcoin works. It's a 10-week actually intensive program. Sounds pretty in depth. And then they're
Yeah.
doing pay the trainer, like kind of like
Ooh,
one-on-one training sessions too. So
that's very
really really
cool.
cool. I think they're actually reading. They're doing like book readings as well, like a
Ooh,
Bitcoin book club, perhaps something like that.
that sounds like a really cool community. Like that. That is really
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, they're doing really cool
Productive,
stuff. I
educational. We love
I'm
it.
anxious to follow this project and kind of see, what they build their first
Yeah.
week building on Shakespeare. See what
Yeah.
apps maybe they'll come to the vibe coding session here in a couple weeks and
Hmm.
demo some of them for us. That'd be pretty sweet. Then we can come on the show here and sing their praises.
Yeah, our Shakespeare users come up with the best ideas, honestly. Like they come up with things I could have never dreamed up. And I love to see that because other people's creativity unleashed to me is so much more interesting than like mine. I mean, like I'm like, cool, I made my
I
idea, but
love to
then
see what people are building.
yeah,
And now with vibe coding, anybody with an idea can flesh out and build something. That's what's super cool because
yes.
you've never been able to do that before. You could have always been an
Hmm.
idea person, but if you can't turn the idea
Oh, yeah.
into a final product, it dies. So
Our
now
boss has
anybody
said
can do
this.
that.
Alex Gleason has said this. It's on our
He's a
YouTube
smart
channel.
guy.
Or, yeah, well, he has said, that it doesn't really matter anymore. Your ideas, like what matters more is the implementation of them. Like anybody can come up with the
Yeah,
idea,
I
but
agree.
implementing it is what cements it in the universe and like
Well,
makes it
well,
happen.
you need to have some skills though, because you
Hmm.
need to be able to have communication skills. and you need to be
Yes.
able to have some type of writing skill, because you need to be able to communicate these ideas out there. If you can't communicate your
Mhm.
vision, you're still going to have a bad time, because you're going to leave too much of this up to interpretation of AI.
Yeah, and
So
it
you
could be
need to be able
little
to at least
things.
communicate your idea somewhat.
Like I have learned with Shakespeare, like
Otherwise, it's like
I
it's like Shakespeare, take the wheel, and
no, they don't want
who
to do
knows what you're
you
gonna
want
get.
it could be a bad kid once in a while, so you gotta give it an idea of like, "Hey, I want you to use this color blue. Here's my hex code. Do this." Or, if you see it going off the rails, you just stop it and reset the context window. Just little hints like that, or telling it like, "I specifically want this photo to go in the hero section, aka the header of the website, like the top section." Like they
Well,
call that the
these
hero
are
section.
vocabulary words, Heather,
Mhm.
that I've said I was gonna make this, and I haven't done it yet. I'm bad. I know. I'm sorry. Don't yell at me. But one of these days, when time permits, I want to have a glossary of all of
Yes.
these terms, because using words like you just said, like hero image or header
Hero
or
section.
footer or
Yes.
grid or column, and a lot of these, or saying card, like a
Mhm.
lot of these are design language words
And
that
some things
most people don't really understand, or
yeah,
because they've never had the ability to use them.
uh-huh, and some things are quirks too. Like, if you throw in, like, "Make my website pretty" or "Make my website
Man, if you say that,
feminine."
you're gonna get all sorts of emojis and colors.
Yeah, you're gonna get all kinds of things, and or I'll say like, "Make it purple and orange," because that's just what I do, and then I'm like, "Ooh, this doesn't look good," or I'll say, "Add this feature," and it'll just add it in green, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna have to redo that." So
Yeah,
sometimes you have to be specific, but you can also like, I think in the beginning I made my prompts too long and too specific, and I think I made it worse for myself, and now I do a lot of one-liners. I let it make a thing, and then I go, "Okay, let's see what it gives me." And I'm only like $3 in, so I'm like, okay, now I can go back and see, I want to change this next. And so I do this like prompt chaining thing where I start with an order, it gives me some work, I go, okay, well, now do this, and then it gives me more things. And so you kind of learn to work with it that way too, with the prompt chaining way.
I'm a fan of doing prompt chaining for bug fixes and iterations, but in the beginning,
Mm,
I like typing whole entire massive documents, laying out
mhm.
every single feature, how I want it to function, laying out the UI, how I want it to look, feeding it into the AI, letting it take the wheel, and
See, I think
then
you have more
going
than
back,
you have a developer mindset, and you
perhaps.
probably would do that with the command line, whereas I've never had that mindset. So like I'll go into Shakespeare
I
and I'll
look at it as
say,
like building a spec sheet, and that's how I kind of treat it, like
yeah,
a
like
spec document.
I will ask it like, build me an MVP or minimum viable product of Yelp. Like what I'll say like, don't even code for me yet. Just tell me what an MVP of Yelp would look like. And then it'll come up with a plan. And so then it says, well, do you want me to do this? And it's like, okay, well, maybe I don't, and so I'll take out some of it, and like, that's not necessary or I'm not interested in, and then I'll go down a rabbit hole, like I'll try to make like a Yelp for developers, which nobody needs, but I'll just play with it and be like, can I mash together ideas? Because you can just do that now.
I think that, and this will kind of transition us into the next segment real quick, but I think what I'm hearing is that not every single vibe coder fits inside the same prompt,
No, we can all
right?
do something differently.
Yeah. So
Mhm. There's no right way. There's no wrong
tools
way.
tools need to be able to adapt for that. In the
Mhm.
next version of Shakespeare that we're working on
Oh.
here at Soapbox, will actually fit this narrative where if you are somebody that wants to just have a conversation and just prompt and never look at the code, you can do that.
Mhm.
On the other hand, if you're a more technical person and you like a command prompt from time to time to do some manual editing or to go in and tweak some things yourself,
Mhm.
if you need that extra flexibility, I don't know of any other tool out there that is both visual and GUI, graphical user interface,
Mhm.
and terminal command line at the same time.
Yeah, like it will show you its
I can't think
work.
of any.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
it's.
showing you the work versus
Mhm.
allowing you to go in and edit the work and change the work. Like that's something that we're working on right now. And that's going to be super cool. So to reiterate, you're going to be able to do what you do now and have a conversation in a GUI, but then go in and edit via command line too for a power user. So we'll have like beginner mode and advanced mode in the same app. That's wild.
Man,
That's really
I'm
cool.
going to stay in beginner mode for like I'm getting more comfortable with the command line.
And that's
but-
cool. We need to have the best
Yeah.
beginner mode out there.
Yeah.
So
because-
you know what? A lot of times I've been telling people, as they start to use Shakespeare and they start to graduate to this intermediate mode, they need a little bit more flexibility. I tell them to download the source code from Shakespeare and then run mkstack on the command line. So now
there you go.
I can just say, oh, just stay in Shakespeare. You don't need to do that. You just this is your home. You don't need to leave.
So in
But
theory, if I were to build a web page or like a landing page, just like a one-page thing in Shakespeare, here's my question for you, DevRel Derek. If I build a web page and then I download my source code, could I then take that source code into mkstack and like add that web page to like soapbox.pub if I wanted to? Does that work for me?
Yes.
Because you own your
can
code
do
with
that.
Shakespeare. It's yours.
You do own your code. You can click the download code or go to your website /sourcecode.zip and you can download it, and then you can do whatever you want with it.
It's freedom of speech, baby. Code is speech. It's yours. You own it.
Freedom of speech, and code is speech. Code is speech.
That is the most important.
So that's what's
thing.
happening in Soapbox land. I think that's really it for this week in Soapbox news. Maybe it's time to wrap this up. I think
Shakespeare Act
we've
II
hit
coming
the
soon.
hour mark.
We have, and
Coming soon.
Coming soon. We can't say when, and we can't give you the exact features, but we are working on Shakespeare Act II feverishly to make sure it's even better than the Shakespeare DIY you have right now. And if you want to take it for a whirl, it's shakespeare.diy, and it's a conversational AI builder, and you get to own everything, and you're not locked in, and it's just pretty simple to use. How do you like my sales
tune in
pitch?
next week. I did, I liked your sales pitch. I did. All right, so tune in next week. We'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel. Do we have channels?
Oh my God. You've just dated yourself with that saying. That's even older than me, and I'm Gen X.
If you know what that is, if you know what that means, you need to boost the show, zap the show, let me know that you watched those reruns when you were a kid like I did.
And also, if you're out in the world, if you're buying batteries and you get carded, please let us know. Or if Derek's phone number was just wanted by a battery salesperson.
Yeah, let me know if this has ever happened to you, or did somebody just want my phone number? I think that this happens to everybody.
No.
So join us on Nostr. Join us on Nostr. You can find us Soapbox Sessions. I'm Derek Ross. That's Heather Larson. You can find us on Nostr in your favorite Nostr app. You can connect with us at Soapbox. Send us your feedback and keep the zaps coming. Thanks for watching.